There's like a movie producer that I was talking to recently who watches my videos. But I'm not going to say who it is.
It's
but
Quentin
like
Tarantino, guys. It's Quentin Tarantino.
They're like a big producer. To the point where like if you just like name something big in a year, it's like probably they...
No way. That's awesome. There's one question. I don't know if you want to talk about this, but
sure.
I know you talked about it in 2017 with Penguins on his podcast. The furry stuff. I want to know about furry culture and
what about it?
In the podcast you said you were gonna look into or try to look into figure out where your furry origins or why you like furry stuff so much. Did you ever follow up on that?
You're listening to Board with Nelly.
Adam Johnston with a Johnston, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Make sure I didn't mess that up. That'd be a horrible start. Welcome to the Board with Nelly podcast. I just invite random people to talk about random things. I'm a big fan of yours. I've been watching your content for quite some time, so this is quite the privilege for me, quite the honor, I must say. I'm really excited to have you here.
So I'm not so random then.
All right, the topics are random. The guests, yes, I've selected. That's fair. I want to know about how you first started with YouTube content.
I was using YouTube as a place to dump my short films I was making when I was in junior high school, basically. That's how I started.
Were you trying to do a more classical school route for film stuff, or no?
There was a point in time where I was considering it, but Vancouver Film School didn't really seem to have any courses that were geared towards what I wanted to do. It was basically like the option. They can teach you how to do a lot of the technical stuff, but there wasn't really like a program for like directors when I was checking. And so some people even just suggested like, oh, just join the acting program and then you'll make connections. But for like $35,000 of that didn't really seem worth it. So,
is it any better today, or is it still kind of? I would think Vancouver's a good place for that.
I haven't looked. I mean, Vancouver. A lot of successful people have gone to Vancouver Film School. I think Neil Blomkamp went there actually. But I don't know. It depends what you're trying to get out of it. You can't really teach someone how to have like a feel for creating art. You can teach someone how to use tools to create whatever vision they would want to, but if their vision sucks in the first place, you can't really teach that.
Yeah. Is YouTube now the better route for any creator out there?
To get yourself out there, yeah. I mean, like if you have a successful short film you post on YouTube, like David F. Sandberg,
right.
That's how he created his first feature, was literally just having a short on YouTube, and producers saw it and they were like, hey, want to make a movie? So.
And like equipment is way more affordable and easy to access nowadays than it once was.
Yeah, you don't even necessarily like need proper equipment.
Yeah,
you can do a what's his face? I'm blanking on the name. Tangerine director.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's out
shoot
of my
on an iPhone.
Yeah.
Fucking Florida Project. Sean Baker.
Got
it. You can do a Sean Baker and film a movie with an iPhone if you want.
Yeah, those guys are next level. Do you think... Actually, not do you think. I was going to ask you, what was your first taste of success, I guess, on YouTube? Because you had the Megan video in 2013, right? But that was... you had,
yeah, Megan is Missing. That got big on Reddit because I posted it there on my cake day. And I was at work at Best Buy refreshing the computer screen, watching people watch it, and that was cool. And that was like a good enough boost that didn't really necessarily make the difference between me making it or not making it, but it did make the difference between me having $600 to spend on like a month's worth of rent so I could afford to quit my job and do the Patreon thing for a month, and if that didn't work out, then have to go back to work, I guess. It provided like a bit of a safety net that I didn't have before, and then Patreon was a new thing. So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't start YouTube till much later, so I'm kind of curious what YouTube was like back in those days. Was ad revenue low? The algorithm didn't even exist. What was YouTube like? Maybe it's a harder question because it's so long
there
ago.
were not as easy ways to fight copyright claims, but you didn't get claimed for as much.
Right.
It was easier to monetize because there weren't a lot of rules for monetization, but in the early days there wasn't monetization, period. Just once it showed up, I guess.
When that video took off, were you already doing like pretty well? Were you getting like, I don't know, 10,000, 100,000 per video or no?
No, I don't think I'd had 100,000 yet, probably.
Because I remember watching or following your channel for quite some time, and I know you had a lot of problems with copyright. Was there ever a point where it got really bad, where you thought like, man, I don't know if I can do this anymore, if I can make a living on this?
No, I've always kind of just fought it. I've never really let it hinder what I'm doing, and I have my website, so like worst case scenario, I can just release stuff on Patreon and not even do it on YouTube if I really need to. However, YouTube is really useful for getting your stuff seen, I guess. So
yeah, how do you even have time to you do so many things? You do a podcast, you do a gaming channel, you do music. I'm trying to figure out how the hell you have so much time to do this.
I don't have any time for anything.
Great.
I've literally I took a week off this month.
Yeah.
And I was kind of still working while I was there, but for the most part it was like some time that I took off, and from like 5 days before I left for the trip, it was like nonstop work, like literally like no time to breathe. And then from me getting back, like I guess literally a week ago till right now, I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped doing. I woke up super early today and tried to do my full licensed driver's test and failed on a technicality, and now I have to rebook that. And then I reorganized my desk, and then I need to get some other stuff done for the Lion King review. It needs to get released this year. I fucked up my hand. It doesn't stop.
It's a nightmare, it sounds. What's the driver's license thing? Why do you need to? You're doing it really late.
Well, because
or COVID.
Yeah, I'm 30. Well, I mean, in British Columbia, it goes from L for your learners, which you don't want to have forever, and then your N license, which if you're young means a lot of restrictions, but if you're like me, I guess, it doesn't really mean anything. So I work from home. So having an N license means your passengers, you can only have 2 passengers in your vehicle unless those passengers are family members or over the age of 25 or have their full license. And it's like, I don't really hang out with a lot of people that are under the age of 25, so it didn't affect me. So I kind of like dawdled on getting my full license because the N just didn't mean, it just meant a sticker on the back of my car. That's it. And then I was going to get it last year, and then COVID happened and they canceled a lot of shit. And now that I'm trying to book this year, it's like impossible. So I have to keep refreshing for cancellations. So I was hoping to get it dealt with today, but it didn't happen.
Were you just putting this off, or like did you have like a fear of driving or something, or?
No. I mean, I didn't have any reason to drive when I was younger, and then the only time the point in my life where I started driving is when my aunt was moving to Toronto and wanted to get rid of her car. I'd never. Public transit is so good in
big cities,
Vancouver. And, yeah. So you don't really need it. It's nice to have for groceries and stuff. It's nice to have for certain things, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really go out of my way to do things that aren't like super necessary. So
it makes sense because I've heard you talk all the time about how long some of these video takes you, and like how long it takes you to edit and voiceover work, and I know certain videos take you months. What's the longest video you've worked on?
I mean, from start to finish, I guess Synecdoche, New York.
Yeah,
I started that one earlier, but it's not because you have to understand that when something takes like years, it's not that I'm literally working on it nonstop for years. It's that I also have to maintain a channel, many channels.
Yes.
And be able to have some sort of income and not go insane while I'm working on that project. So, if it's like a 20-minute video, that can be out like in a relatively short amount of time. Like I can do that in like a week or something, depending on what the topic is, depending on how much research, depending on how much of a deep dive or how much footage I'm using. But that doesn't take long at all. But when it's a project that's like several hours long, sure, I guess the total amount of time spent on it could be something like, if I was working nonstop, like I don't know, 4 to 6 months or something, if depending on what the video is. But then that means I can't release any other content. That means I can't like do my Sunday stream. And I don't know. I already overworked myself to the point of getting tendonitis. So I'm trying to learn how to not overwork myself at the same time while also
managing 7 YouTube channels, Twitch.
That's like the conundrum of like taking time off that I did for a week this month, which I mean, that was the whole point of like me trying to be like, okay, I got to take some time off to not like overwork myself. But then I don't know, is this considered a catch-22? But like, that means that the time that I take off, I have to make up for before and after. So I'm like overworking myself before and after.
Right.
Every commitment that I can't get done within that week time frame is pushed to either before or after. There's all these like appointments and things that I needed to get done before COVID, or like during COVID, but you know, COVID happened and I just kind of put some things off, like some medical things. Like I'm going to the dentist tomorrow, trying to get like a mouth guard so I stop grinding my teeth in my sleep. I don't know, just like a long list of things, and then plus obviously editing and streaming and all that.
I find a lot of relatability there, because I also like doing so many different things, and it's really hard to give everything 100%. Like I enjoy talking to people as a podcast. I originally started making FIFA content. That was my original goal. Then I got a job in the space, and it's like, how do you dedicate time to one thing and then not to another? Because YouTube is such a grind, in the sense you need to find a niche, you need to grind that niche. It's so difficult to be outside that.
I mean, my first 3 years of not doing YouTube, but just the YMS channel, I was doing while I was working 2 other jobs. Just trying to like grow and nurture that until I could do my Patreon thing.
Yeah.
So like, content was coming out slow at that point too. Except back then it was like, I wasn't even doing quickies or any of the side stuff or gaming channel or anything or podcast. And so it was like, it would be like months between videos, but it was like only one video across like everything.
Right.
Whereas now it's like still, you know, certain types of videos, it takes months or maybe longer depending on what it is. But there's always videos being posted every day across like any one of my channels.
If you could go back with the knowledge that you have like today, would you do anything differently? Of YouTube and content creation, of your own habits, your own...
I don't think that way. I'm like a hardcore determinist, because I mean, it's not a possibility. I understand that there's, you know, human beings like to think of what ifs, should have, would have, could have, but that's literally just not something that exists. And it's not like I'm trying to be like a dick and not entertain the question. It's just like, okay, well, first thing that pops in my mind is like, okay, well, I wish I didn't overwork myself to get it the point of getting tendonitis. But then it's like, then I wouldn't. How would I know that and not learn? Like that's a part.
Where do you draw the line?
It is
right?
Experiencing it, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I just thought like it's difficult for me to imagine an alternative when no such alternative exists.
Let me ask a different question then. Maybe let me try rephrasing that. Let me try rephrasing that, because how about someone that wants to be, you know, in your space, do something similar that you're doing? What would your advice to them be, knowing what you know today?
It's really difficult to answer that question, because every time I think like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have worked so hard, I also think like, well, I worked hard and now I'm, you know, successful enough to be able to say like, hey, I'll take like a week off this month or something. Like, and it came with having to learn things the hard way, and hopefully, maybe fingers crossed, you know, I don't have like any kind of permanent injury from it, but I don't know. But it's I don't think in that way. It's weird.
I gotcha. That's fair.
everything that happens is something that was going to happen. A part of learning, a part of growing. Every experience you have, whether negative or otherwise, is just a part of who you are and a part of something you can learn from, I guess.
I mean, there's value to that answer as well, right? It's just like, do what you want to do, and that's the path you're gonna. It's not like you can change that path. That path is gonna be outlined regardless, right? It's maybe it helps you in the sense because it makes you not worry as much about the what ifs, the questions that you're never even gonna get answers to.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. You've also been in a lot of controversies on YouTube with like Cool Cat, with YouTube, and like small. I mean, there's a real controversy in the world, and then there's YouTube controversy.
Annoyances.
Yeah. The YouTube stuff. I think you were one of the first people that I noticed put like literally on every single video like a disclaimer because they were going after every one of your videos, every one of your reviews. Is this still an ongoing battle or like no?
I mean, I get copy. Let's see. I'll count how many copyright claims I have active right now.
Christ.
I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on my main channel right now.
Okay, I did not expect that.
In the middle of fighting. I mean, yeah, I've gotten used to it, and I have like copied and pasted things that I send, and yeah, it's an ongoing thing. I've done what I could to try and make YouTube aware of this problem. The issue is like the entities that would take YouTube to court are the studios and not the individuals. Right. So they're going to weigh things in favor of studios and not individuals, because there's no threat from individuals really. So there's been like some minor cases. Like, I don't know. I mean, not to suggest they're minor, but there's been some cases from individuals like Lens versus Universal Music Corp. where they took Universal to court over a DMCA takedown on one of their videos. And they actually won, and it set like a pretty interesting precedent. The judge ruled that the claimant has to consider fair use while taking down material. And you'd think that, I don't know, that would send like a shockwave or a ripple across like different studios. And in some ways it probably has, but just not to the degree that I would be hoping. It's very clear that there are that they just outsource some content manager shit to whoever, and they just automatically go like, no, this is ours, whatever, we're going to make money off of it, blah, 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 because they don't get punished for it. What's YouTube going to do? Be like, oh, you've done that 10 times, Universal. We're taking away your ability to claim content? No, because then everybody would just upload their movies, and then they would get sued, and it's like, it's impossible to punish them for it. I just wish that instead of having to punish them for it, there was like a bit of there were easier ways to fight it, or easier arbitration, or I don't know, human beings that mediated YouTube disputes or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like
a bit more money in, not robots.
It seems like there's no resolution in sight then, because if these studios keep pushing and they don't get punished for any of these claims, they can just keep doing it. And if you don't fight them, they make money. If you fight them, whatever, nothing happens, right?
Yeah.
You lose time. You're losing just time on these things.
Yeah, it's really annoying, but whatever.
The Cool Cat, Derek Savage, have you talked to him ever about his stuff and his fair use?
What do you mean?
Because you made a video on it, right? And then he took his video down. Did he ever contact you?
Yeah, and then he blocked me after that video. Well,
he did?
He just blocked me. Yeah, he blocked me immediately.
Oh.
I was on good terms with him at the time, but he was implicating me in. He posted his video. He name dropped me and told everybody on the internet, just ask Adam from YMS, blah blah blah, implying that I supported his takedowns of other people, some of which were my friends.
Right.
So I had to kind of like not only correct the record about my support or lack thereof, but I also had to kind of be like, this is not what fair use is. And I'm glad that video happened, because a lot of people use it as like a little fair use guideline. It's good, informative video. The only thing wrong with it is I said copyrighted logo when I should have said trademarked logo, but whatever.
Well,
it used to be an annotation. There used to be an annotation there. but YouTube removed annotations.
Back in my
I'm
day,
not a lawyer, but I'd make a good fucking lawyer. I would be a good lawyer.
you're gonna sound like an old
If I
man.
wasn't a YouTuber, I'd be a lawyer.
Back in my day, we had annotations, and you could have star ratings on YouTube videos.
Yeah, I don't know why they took those away. Annotations and community subtitles. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I had a poll in one of my videos, and they took it down. It was really annoying. It was actually just in time. I made a video like criticizing EA and how they've made a horrendous football game every year, and I basically just said like, do you think EA is making something in the code that's kind of predetermining the results of games? And I just said like, just drop a vote, and it was like 98% people agree that EA is doing that. And then like a week later, that thing just gets removed. I'm like, okay, sweet, thanks EA.
Weird.
No, obviously it wasn't EA, but yeah.
I mean, to be fair, like the YouTube system sucks, but at least there are ways to fight it. You just have, even if you have to jump through a million hoops. Like if I got content taken down from Twitter for like copyright or whatever, I didn't even know what to fight. Like I just kind of accepted that it was gone. I couldn't even really. There was no like appeals process. So,
fair enough.
Yeah.
When you look at the
at least that's something YouTube offers.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good things that YouTube does. I mean, you know, people always talk about the negative, but there's a lot of really positive things going on.
Yeah,
right?
they're fucking stupid, and there's really easy things they could do to improve, but also they're in a really tough position, and they're doing a lot better than, like, if let's say YouTube wasn't the company to be, or Google, to be moderating like basically all video on the internet. If let's say in an alternate universe it was like Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook, we would be in a much worse situation because of it. So
I agree.
Yeah.
They're in a rock and a hard place, or whatever that expression is. Like they can't please everyone. Yeah, I was gonna ask you when you did your music stuff and you do other gaming stuff. Is that just like a passion project on the side, and are you kind of like, do you not like being known as like the movie guy or whatever? Because that's like your.
I don't care. I'm not one of those people. I don't give a shit. If you put content out on the internet, or you're trying to sell something, even like I don't understand how you could get upset over being like known for something that you put your work into. If I get known for being a music guy, that'd be cool too. But it's not like I don't hate being known as a person, like
of course
something I've put a lot of work and effort into. Yeah, I heard about, there's like some artists like the song Cherry Pie, I didn't even like that one as much, and I'm famous for it. It's like, dude, shut the fuck up. You got like tens of millions of dollars for it. If you like, what are you doing as a musician? You don't like being known for a song you wrote? Like, fuck off. Like,
what is that? That's an identity issue, right? That's more of a deeper.
It's being stupid. I don't know. I don't empathize with it very much. I'm probably being insensitive. Maybe I haven't thought about it enough. I don't know.
No, you're good. So
I think it's dumb.
You've had music success too. Like you've had a lot of really. I've listened to some of it. I'm like, this is not bad, even though maybe I don't.
Why, thank you.
I mean, like I'm not gonna say I've listened to every one of your albums, but didn't you have a cover of or Blondie covered one of your songs?
Yeah, Blondie covered my track Fragments, and it's the closing track on their latest album Pollinator.
I'm not really familiar too much with the music scene. How does that work when a band covers your song? Do they contact you?
Royalties. They.
How do they
Chris
find you?
Stein watches my videos.
Mm-hmm.
He is one of the founding members of Blondie, and there's like a movie producer that I was talking to recently who watches my videos. But I'm not going to say who it is.
It's Quentin Tarantino, guys. It's Quentin Tarantino.
They're like a big producer, to the point where like if you just like name something big in a year, it's like probably they.
No way. It. That's awesome. Surreal. I'm talking to, I don't know, Kenny from Kenny vs. Penny or something like that.
I mean, tons, but I don't know, like what I can say publicly. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know, just like Twitter is good for networking. Yeah, some people. Yeah, I don't know. Like, there's a lot of people that dislike what I have to say, but I don't know. There's enough.
That's life.
Actual industry people that don't hate me that I surely am not like the worst person to have had an opinion on a movie, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, you've done so much in the space, so like to me, it's kind of interesting to ask, like, what are you most excited about going forward? What kind of opportunities are you most interested in pursuing? Or if you even think that way,
well,
maybe you don't even think that
I'm
way.
working on a project, but I'm not going to say what it is.
Okay.
But
Fair.
I'd like to do more. I'd like to work with like an actual crew that I trust, which is difficult because I've done so much. Everything I've done is solo. I don't have an agent. I don't have a manager. I don't have a publicist. I don't exist in that like Hollywood world where you have to like do everything through someone else sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it's also difficult finding people that are dependable and or talented or both is the big one. And I don't know. Yeah, it's just a matter of like needing to have a good project that you can like prove yourself off of to the point where like other talented, dependable people will want to work with you, sort of thing. But yeah, I'd like to do like actual narratives. You know, I'd like to set some time aside for like writing, directing. You know.
I mean, you have so many hours of watching movies, reviewing movies, analyzing movies, understanding movies. I mean, naturally the path would be to make your own movie, right? I mean, would that be the ultimate goal? To have your own feature film?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? I mean, baby steps. It doesn't have to be like a feature film right away. It could be some other medium or format that involves film. And you know, I don't know. My music video turned out pretty good. It was the entire basis for it was me being able to film something whenever I wanted by myself and not needing any crew or anything. Right, and I could just shoot the whole thing myself, and it worked out. But there's only so many projects you can film like that. That one just happened to work out thematically, I guess.
Do you get like criticism like, oh, hey, this guy just reviews movies, like he can't make his own stuff, and that's probably happened a ton over the years, right? Or
I mean, that's the default thing to say when someone speaks negatively about something that you've attached your identity to, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. People say that all the time. And, you know, like most people are right. Like, it's not like there's a lot of people that talk about movies, but only so many that are actually talented at making them. But even I don't know, there's people that are talented at making movies that also have shit taste. I think they're just two different things.
Right.
It's a lot easier to be an individual and you know, have a microphone and edit your own videos and rip footage than it is to command an entire crew of like 12 to like hundreds of people. On a day, right? And you know, this is obviously a very different budget. It's a very different environment. It's you know, like I don't live in LA. There's a lot of excuses, but then the trick is just trying to find the right way to alleviate enough excuses to be able to actually create something.
Have you ever done one of those 48-hour film festival things, maybe?
Yeah, and it was bullshit. It was in Edmonton, and I wound up not doing it because they were forcing me to work with someone else's script because it was like it was a big scheme. Actually, it was a big scam. My brother wound up doing the whole thing, and they like stole the footage or something. I don't remember.
Really?
The guy like disappeared. It was nonsense. However, there is something I created in 48 hours. If you search on YouTube, Don't Move Dark Ocean Films. Dark Ocean Films, all one word. You'll find an upload. Click on the one that says 2007, because YouTube, for some reason, a lot of old uploads, like, so it was from, like, click on the one that says 2007 in the title. A lot of old uploads, YouTube just fucking ruined for some reason. I don't know why.
Don't Move Dark Ocean Films.
Yeah, it was like...
Send me a link. Send me a link in the Discord chat.
I'll send you a link right now, actually.
Oh, yeah, because I haven't seen this.
My suggestions might be a little different. This is when I was... 2007, I was... I was born in 91, so I must have been like 15...
Oh, wow.
Old. I can't do math. But it's something... Let's see. How do I get in the chat?
Discord? Just to me,
I full screened it. Yeah.
Escape.
The problem... Here we are. There we are. There it is. So that was filmed and edited in less than 44 hours. It was for a friend's, like a group of friends, one of them being a sister of a friend also. It was for their drama project. They wanted to create a horror film. I basically just like wrote it, and I don't remember how long it took to write, but it wasn't very long. But yeah, I was exporting it onto a DVD as she was like going to school, and I fucking popped it out and gave it to her. Basically, just did their whole project for them because I like filming shit.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like it's not good. There's a lot of cheese. The acting sucks. There's annoying twists and whatever.
Right.
But I think like if you're watching it, like I think that I don't know. There's some like good editing and framing decisions. Not to like toot my own horn, but you know, given the
Yeah.
age, I think it's not terribly shot for just a person with a camera.
Yeah.
And you can tell you can tell when I'm in the frame the camera work gets really shitty because someone else is holding it.
I'm trying to find you. Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah, it might sound like really pompous, but it's accurate. Okay.
Are you the kid with the sweater, with the dark sweater?
Yeah, at the beginning.
Yeah.
I play two characters. I show up as a police officer later, and it's really cheesy.
That's great. I mean, those 40-hour film festivals are really fun. I have no film background, and I have a friend who did. He has a master's in whatever film here at the University of Windsor. He did it for his project, and he invited me. And it was just a lot of fun. Like you get to see the whole process of, you know, they stay up literally for 2 days making this thing. It's 5 minutes.
Yeah, like limitations can bring out a lot of interesting things.
Yeah, this was just like a group of friends that like everyone had their own gear or whatever, and everyone was on board. Everyone knew their role. So when it's all like flowing, it's kind of fun. I mean, I don't know. Mm-hmm. Did you end up did they ever end up putting that footage out? You were in the movie as well, right? For the assassination of, what was it, Jesse James or whatever? Because I remember you talked about it, but I never found the footage.
I was in the background of like some shots that got not used in the movie, so it doesn't really matter.
God damn it. I was actually hoping to see that, but how do you even get one of those? Is it just like walking by, or did you actually audition or something?
I sent in some headshots. It was just for extra work. They didn't need me to audition. I don't remember how. I think maybe we saw something in the paper.
Oh, in
the Fort Edmonton Park.
Yeah, you would think like with so many things going on there, there'd be a lot more opportunities to really get into. I don't know, maybe movies or being extras, but it's not like Hollywood where you just show up and there's a billion opportunities, right?
No, that was also in Edmonton.
Oh, that was Edmonton.
Not Vancouver, yeah.
Oh, never mind.
That was when I still lived in Edmonton.
Interesting. Okay, fair enough.
There's work you can get in Vancouver if you want to be like an extra, or I've got like two friends that are like makeup artists, you know, like I don't know, I've got some people that are in the film community here, but it's never like, I don't know, there's a lot of bullshit that's filmed in Vancouver. There's a lot of like bad Netflix shows.
Isn't there like a big reason because of like taxes or something like that? Like there's it's a
tax rebate.
That's so stupid. I thought there was actually like better genuine reasons for because it's a nice location, right?
I mean, it's like it's a hub for film in Canada, and we've got like the infrastructure set up for it. Like the city's used to it, so like I don't know. It depends on what you want to create, but there's a lot of reasons to do it in Vancouver.
Yeah, there was another thing you were talking about, director's cut, and that being a dying genre. Why do you enjoy director's cut so much?
What? Sorry,
you love.
Need more context on the quote.
Yeah. You liked director's cut. You said that was one of your ways of learning about movies.
You mean featurettes and commentaries?
Yes. Yeah. I'm starting to see less and less of that.
Yeah. It would be nice if that was a continued thing. It's very informative.
You know, it'd be great. Like I think like a YouTube option where you could just turn it on. Like you can go in the settings. That'd be like, why isn't that a thing?
There are some streaming services that do that. I'd imagine Criterion probably does it, but Netflix doesn't really seem interested in a lot of that stuff, unfortunately.
Yeah, Netflix. I don't know. They're hit or miss sometimes. Have you been watching any of the new shows? Like I don't know. Not Netflix, but this is the HBO one. Have you been watching? Do you watch Curb Your Enthusiasm?
Oh yes. Yeah, I haven't seen the most recent one, but I saw that season premiere.
The first episode, and I'm gonna not spoil it too much,
Yeah.
but he goes to Netflix to showcase his new show, and the first scene is like a dude in a wheelchair, a black guy, and then like a lesbian, and they're listening to his pitch. And they're just like, that's really great work, David. And he's like, just don't give me show notes. And they all start like laughing, like, haha. He's like, no, seriously, don't fucking give me show notes. Like, I'm not gonna take them. There's so many of these random shows that are just on HBO, especially killing it. How to with John Wilson was one that you actually got me onto. I think season 2 is coming out next month, which is gonna be exciting.
Hopefully, yeah.
Is there anything else that you're really excited about? Because you kind of get to see movies a year in advance, right? You get to see it at these
sometimes.
Anything on the horizon that you're really excited about?
I don't know. The Northman, new Robert Eggers will be interesting. I don't know. I'll have to check my watch list. There's always stuff to be excited about. Just any director I like making a new thing, generally.
I usually watch your videos and then I see what you give it, and if you give it like a 7, I'm like, oh fuck, that's pretty good. Like this is gonna be a movie I like. Like if it's a 5, I'm like, it's just on the outskirts of watchability.
Yeah, maybe.
But I found my own scale to go along with your own scale.
Awesome.
For a 10 out of 10 movie, what's your criteria? I guess can also a 10 out of 10 movie be? Can it be perfect but not perfect for you?
If it's not perfect for me, I'm not giving it a 10.
Interesting. So let's go.
It has to relate. I don't give anything a 10 that I don't connect with.
Okay, so what's some other criteria for a perfect movie? Because I don't know, you probably haven't given too many, right?
It's a combination of what I consider to be artistic or technical attributes, achievements outweighing flaws, and then my personal relatability for it.
Because when you
just feel it out if it feels right.
Yeah, that makes sense. But when you reviewed so many different things, is it kind of tough to always have the same metrics for some movies that are so varying in style and what their objective is and your taste? And that's fair. All right. All right.
I don't consider it tough.
No. All right. Fair enough.
No.
Yeah, I had a lot more questions. Oh, there's one question. I don't know if you want to talk about this, but
sure.
I know you talked about it in 2017 with Penguins on his podcast. The furry stuff. I want to know about furry culture and
what about it?
In the podcast you said you were going to look into or try to look into figure out where your furry origins or why you like furry stuff so much. Did you ever follow up on that?
There is no like definitive way. There's like I don't know. There's nobody controls their own desires. It is definitely like a kind of like an identity thing. It's a comfort thing. And then by proxy through identity, it's also a sexual thing for me, not for everybody. There are when you are developing as a human being at very young ages, there are bits of information being processed in your brain like a sponge. Some of these bits of information are very dead set and hard coded. Some are not. The ones that are pertaining towards
desires
identity and sexuality and not I wouldn't just say desires. I would say very literally identity,
right?
And sexuality. Those are things that get hard coded in an unchangeable way, because if they didn't, that if let's say if let's say human beings had more agency over their sexuality and it was much more easier to control in terms of your desires, then we wouldn't exist as a species, because it literally has to be an unchangeable strong urge. Otherwise we wouldn't reproduce throughout evolutionary history, right? There's two strongest desires of the human being, or any surviving creature right now, is either reproduction or fear of death. So those things have to be inherent. They can't be changed. Perhaps there are outliers, perhaps there are exceptions to the rule, but in general, That's how a species survives, basically. Human beings, in terms of like what we subject or what we expose developing human beings to, children, everything that we've been doing essentially has been like really experimentational. Things like television, things like media, things like animation, things like imagination. These are things, even like reading like a storybook with like pictures in it or something to a child. These are all new things in terms of like the lineage of human history. We really had no way of understanding what kind of impact or effect it would have on developing human beings. So it's possible that if you think of imagination, pre animation sort of visual representations, if you could imagine like raising a child of like, oh, there's blah blah blah, they would use like real life examples or like show a relative or something, and maybe something would imprint onto that child's brain in terms of like what their identity is, or like, with human beings, or maybe it's something to do with their sex drive. But there's something subconscious happening where it's like something goes into a slot and then it's like there forever. However, with, I don't know, the way that television, internet, fiction, media, all of these new things that whether we should be doing it or not are kind of involved in raising children, whether it's just like putting them in front of the television, whether it's reading them a storybook or like a stuffed animal or something like that. Perhaps there was a moment in my development where the spot in my brain that's reserved for identity of what I'm supposed to feel like I belong to, rather than just going to human being next to me, went to either an anthropomorphic animal character in a book or a film, or like a stuffed animal or something. And from that point, it's unchangeable. So,
like, how many people probably got attracted to like Lola from Space Jam? Let's say in there, like, you have millions and millions of kids watching that show. How many of them had like, let's say, a similar effect, right? Like, because we don't have,
depending on, it's where we would have to do more research. We would have to find out if there's like an exact age where this happens. We would have to find out if there's something that would trigger it. If let's say there's if let's say a child would have to see something that people would consider to be like sexualized in order for that to happen, we don't know. It's really not, what I'm explaining is not like a hard science. It's a lot of philosophy and a lot of theory, but that's the way that I can best understand it, or have best rationalized it, I guess.
What did you think of them censoring, what Lola looked like in the new Space Jam?
They nerfed her tits.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's kind of a weird thing.
Ugly.
Yeah.
Her tits don't even matter. They made her face ugly. As a person that doesn't even want to fuck her anyway.
I haven't seen it in a bit, but yeah, that was just a weird thing. Like, this is how far we've come. Like, this is what we're doing.
Yeah, they made her ugly, and then they didn't give her any character motivations or reason to be there, and she kind of just like hovered around the male characters. And then they did a butt shot of her anyway.
Oh yeah, I remember watching your review. Yeah. What the hell was that? Yeah.
Like, why did they? Yeah, like, you're saying one thing and you're doing another. So,
I mean, I think it's probably like so many people working on a project, so many people conflicting ideas.
And yeah, I mean, you should have like a consistent vision, but whatever.
Yeah, it's interesting stuff. I don't know. To me, there's so many different things we can talk about, but to me, like, that stuff was just so, I don't want to say random, but you don't hear people talk about a lot. I only see like internet historian videos about like rainforest or whatever the festival was. Sure. And I'm like, that's the vibe I get from like that community, when in reality is maybe that's not it.
There's a good amount of misinformation in that video, and also like you have to understand that the furries being like memes or whatever, and also a lot of people just hating furries because they're different. You have to understand that like there's when something happens that is shareable in a cringe sort of way, when some furry does something that's like super autistic, or some furry did something that's like inappropriately sexual or something, people go out of their way to share it. You have to understand that.
I mean, that's
like,
what I went with Rick and Morty, right?
Go check out like any fucking porn website of non-furries and tell me what those fucking categories are. Like, you guys are all fucking perverts too. But you don't. Nobody goes online on Twitter and be like, oh look, these like 19 people who aren't furries came on a piece. Like, of course that happened. Like on Pornhub. Like, I don't have to look this shit up. Like, you people are doing all that shit too. It's just this stupid fucking game that people play where they pretend like they're the only like if somebody does something sexual, like, oh no, they have a penis. Oops. Like the fact that like someone can be naked and have a picture of them show up online naked and that can like hurt their career, that's seriously fucked up. People need to like re-examine
that's really crazy.
They're in. Like that's nonsense. Like, if people want to do shit that's consensual, whatever, I don't care if it's weird. You can't rationalize desires like that. You can't rationalize fetishes. You can't rationalize identity. It's just shit that people feel, and as long as it's not hurting anybody else, then whatever, fuck off. Move to a country that doesn't have freedom if you don't like it. America.
Sorry, I'd say that. Like Rick and Morty is another example, right? Remember that stupid video with the Pickle Rick? The guy stands up in the fucking McDonald's. I think after that,
was funny.
That was great. But like after that, the movement was like Rick and Morty fans, these big brain alphas that are like they're trolling, obviously, but like you have to be a high intellect. That's where those memes came from, right? Mm-hmm. Which was in counter to those videos. I don't know. It's weird. Internet culture is weird. I think we're in a weird time, I think I asked you kind of most of what I had to ask you. I just I don't know. I like your content, and our opportunity to talk to you is pretty awesome for me. So, what are you working on in the upcoming weeks, months?
Lion King.
That's what your whole
part one.
That's
the focus.
Is that your biggest?
I said I would get it out this year.
Did you get any problems with the Kimba whatever video?
I don't know what you mean by problems.
The community outrage.
There's one person that got really mad, and I had to block them off my Facebook recently, or the Facebook page. But they left like literally thousands of comments. But I think they have mental problems, but they were kind of funny. I don't know. I think most people see it as a net positive. Most people are impressed by it. Most people respect the video. So,
well, you're in this position where you give your opinion on stuff all the time, and you're always going to get people that are going to be upset. I remember the Batman video, the reaction to the Batman video. My God, people were out for.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, they're out for blood.
Whatever. I don't care.
Who cares? You're a simple man. You just keep moving forward. You don't think too much about these complex, or not complex, I guess, these societies, these groups, norms.
I mean, I think a lot, but I don't let it
bother you.
I'm going to live my life, I guess.
Yeah, fair enough. Adam, thanks a lot for being a guest on the pod. Appreciate your time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.